following program is brought to you by Caltech.
Good evening. So I guess you're all here to hear about exoplanets this evening. Well, I don't know about you, but I think that we here in Southern California have gone from a desert planet to a water planet in about the space of a week. So we were wondering whether or not anybody would show this evening with all the rain today, but I'm glad to see we have a very good, nice turnout. So my name is Tom Prince. I'm the director of the W.M. Keck Institute for Space Studies here at the California Institute of Technology. Very glad to welcome you here this evening. We are co-sponsoring this event together with the Division for Planetary Science of the American Astronomical Society, which is meeting here in Pasadena this week, and also the Planetary Society, which many of you know very well. Let me just tell you a little bit about the Keck Institute for Space Studies, because many of you are probably not familiar with it. We are a relatively young organization. We just celebrated our second birthday on last Friday, second birthday of our operations. We are generously funded by the W.M. Keck Foundation, which is a very forward-looking foundation here in Southern California, which supports engineering, science, and medical research. It also supports education, and many of you know that it supports public television, and you've watched Sesame Street and heard the W.M. Keck Foundation name. Our Keck Institute is a little bit different. We like to think of it, and we call it a think and do tank. I think you're all familiar with a think tank. Conceive of a think tank sort of mated with a venture capital firm. And so what we do is we bring together small groups of scientists, perhaps 24 at a time, to tackle sort of cutting-edge problems in the area of space-related science and technology. So that's the think tank part of things. What do we do with other topics? For instance, we had one study on what are the sources and sinks of global carbon dioxide, which is greenhouse gas, right? We had another study on how do clouds affect feedback on climate and possibly change our climate. We had another study which was humbly entitled The First Billion Years. So within 1 week, they were studying the first billion years of the universe. We had a number of other studies, one of which is going on now, is how do you keep instruments alive in the very cold environs of Titan, which is a moon of Saturn. After we bring these scientists together, we have the think tank activity, then we go on to do seed funding of the best ideas of that think tank, and that's the do part, the think and do part, and that we then do seed funding and try to bring those ideas that are developed in the think tanks to fruition. So that's the essence of who we are. We're essentially a think and do tank. However, once or twice a year, we have public lectures like you're at this evening. For instance, last March, we had an evening, some of you may have been here, that was also co-sponsored by the Planetary Society, which was about earthquakes. And so that was a very interesting time to do that because we had the Haiti earthquake, we had the Chilean earthquake, and we had the Mexicali earthquake. This evening's topic is not quite so earth-shaking. There's a pun, but I think you'll find it very interesting. If you've read the news at all in the last week, you'll know that exoplanets have been in the news with the discovery of a possibly habitable planet. So I think you'll have a very enjoyable evening this evening. What I'd like to do now is introduce the executive director of the Planetary Society, who is a co-sponsor for this event. That's William Sanford Nye, but almost all of you know him better as Bill Nye, the science guy. And here's Bill Nye.
Greetings, greetings. It's great to see everyone so enthusiastic about exoplanets. It's very exciting. And if they are out there on their planet, they think we're exo. I was I was feeling great about this event. I was feeling great about it till, I must say, till just a few minutes ago. One of you came up to me and said, "Is Bill Nye your real name?" Right? And Tom just, pointed out my name's, I said, "My name's William Nye." And he said, "Well, why did you change it?" I thought, these are scientists with critical thinking skills. I wasn't sure we were on the right track, but it's great to see you all, and it is an honor to be representing the Planetary Society, the world's largest non-governmental space interest organization. How many people are not members of the Planetary Society? Join up tonight. You get the magazine, you get fascinating commentary, and if you go to the website, we have both the Exoplanet Catalog, where we keep track of all the new exoplanets. Every week, there's another exciting exoplanet with a kooky little animation. You can watch the planet to scale. And then we have the Find Exo Earth. My friends, if we were to find evidence of something else like us out there, beyond, if I may, our current horizons, and this gets me to something that makes me crazy, or if you will, crazier. What do you guys look at? Why do you look for other planets? What are you going to find? We don't know what we're going to find. That's why we're looking. I'm fine. If we found evidence of a world like ours, it would completely change this one. It would change this world forever. It'd be like Copernicus and Galileo. Now, sure enough, we would, I presume, in the United States and North America, we would continue to drive on the right. We're not going to change everything. But after, was anybody here alive in 1973? Anyone? It was during the disco era. I don't know if you know this, Norway, which is a country, they were driving, it's a little smaller than, well, it's not even half the size of Los Angeles County in people. But they used to drive on the left, and then they changed to driving on the right. And the hilarious joke was, we'll have all the buses change first, and then later. But they didn't really do it that way. We would continue to drive on the right. Things would be normal for most of us. But after a few years or decades, this world would be completely different. And it's a very, very exciting thing to be involved in. It is a very worthy thing for our species to be looking, if you will, for other worlds like ours. Because there's two questions that we all ponder. That's, where did we come from? And the search for exoplanets is involved in that. And the other one especially, are we alone? And if we can answer these two questions, your life would be very, very different. It is an honor to be here, and now it is my honor to introduce somebody that had a huge influence on my life, but I did not meet her until a couple years ago. There was an image taken by the Voyager spacecraft on Valentine's Day. And this image is the first image of the Earth that's taken from such a distance that the Earth is nothing but what my old professor Carl Sagan called a pale blue dot. And if you can look at that picture and not be moved, you are not one of us. That picture changed the world. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Candy Hansen.
Every time I think about that, I get chills down my spine. So excuse me for a minute while I shiver. Well, I'm here tonight to express the pleasure that the Division of Planetary Sciences of the American Astronomical Society has in co-sponsoring this event. We are a group of about 1,400 rocket scientists, and About 1,000 of us have descended on Pasadena this week for our annual conference. So if you see a lot of geeks with shoulder bags and laptops running around, that's us. Just 2 years ago, just in 2008, we expanded the charter of our organization because the exoplanet segment of our community had grown to the point where we really felt we had to go in and change our bylaws and acknowledge the importance of this growing field of research. And so now our charter covers not just our own solar system, but also planetary systems around other stars. And this week, at this conference this year, we have 27 talks and 33 posters in our exoplanet sessions. We've also had 3 workshops, and we had a student pizza reception last night where we asked the students, what do you think is the most important discovery in the last 15 years? And almost all of them said that discovery of that first exoplanet, which barely met the 15-year criteria. Tonight, you will have 4 experts in this field sharing their research, sharing the excitement of the discoveries that are being made literally every day.
This program is brought to you by Caltech. Visit us at caltech.edu.